Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. This episode was very mixed. This episode was very mixed because I was sitting there thinking about, how to approach this review. I was thinking a lot of the negative stuff that happened in this episode. And I was like, well, I guess it's going to be one of those. I guess it's going to be one of those videos. But then I started thinking about some of the positives that did happen within this episode. Um, the stuff with Joss and Trina, with them catching up and Joss giving these half truths and everything like that. Oh yeah, they broke up. Yeah, it's mostly just us growing apart, mostly. And Trina's like, okay, is there more? Oh well, it's just so long. We'll talk about it another day. Okay, sure. Yeah, no. No, it's more than that. It has a lot to do with the fact that you literally cheated on your boyfriend, on her friend, and practically treated him like dirt. But yeah. We can get into that much later on. Talked about Spencer for a little bit, and yeah, that was that was pretty much about it with those two. The baby was born, so that was cool. Um, but then right after, it's like her blood pressure just started dropping really low when she went in practically into cardiac arrest. So she practically flatlined. And towards the end of the episode, when she sees the light, it's Harmony. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of just like at first we just saw the light, was like, oh man, wonder what's gonna end up happening next. And then you see Harmony, and you're just like, she's gonna be fine. I was like, yeah, she's gonna be fine. Um, so Ava gives Spencer the quote unquote incriminating evidence. It's pretty much of the new Nicholas, by the way. I forgot his name, but it's this guy that played Nicholas before that a lot of people seem like they liked. I liked him. I thought he was cool as Nicholas. So I'm with it. Makes me wonder what site did I actually. I know I went on Soaps in Depth. To sit there and read the article saying that Tyler Crystal was coming back. Okay? So unless I was having some sort of hallucination and I dreamed that whole thing, which I know I didn't, I know what I read. Anyway, it's a confession of the new Nicholas saying that he pushed Esme off the roof to kill her. And, even before that, when Spencer was like, will it be enough to put him behind bars? And she's like, well, maybe, but at the very least, it will sit there and sully his reputation. I'm like, ruin his reputation? Are you serious? It's like, are you serious? You ruin? And this is what Victor's worried about. Victor's worried about the sullying of the Cassidy name. Like the name has not been tarnished for years, but somehow this whole scandal. Oh yeah, that's going to sit there and just bring down the whole house of cards at that point. Whatever, screw it. So, he takes the video, he takes the paper with the link or whatever, because we're in 2023 now. And when Trina walks in and Ava leaves, at first Trina's like, what was that Ava gave you? He was like, it was nothing. She was like, I was not worried about it. But Spencer was like, no, I want to be honest with you. So he talks about it. This is where we get into this a bit of a conundrum, or just something that I noticed. When Spencer tells Trina about the video, he's like, it could be really damaging, it could be really bad. Trina's like, I'm not gonna lie, this whole thing just seems kind of fishy, like you don't want to sit there and use it. Like it seems kind of wrong to use it. And Spencer's like, I'm only gonna use it if it really comes down to it. And, Trina was like, well, I've been telling everyone that you've been changing and stuff like that. You're doing things a lot different. Spencer's like, well, I told you about it. I could have lied to you, but I told you about it. And then he says something along the lines of, as far as his morality, she would save him. And I'm like, she's not supposed to be your moral compass, This is, when I sit there and maybe I'm kind of stretching this out a little bit, making a comparison with days with Sarah and Xander. How Sarah is his moral compass. And I'm like, see, the thing about Xander that really screwed himself is that he changed for the wrong reasons. And using her as some sort of moral compass, like, well, as long as I have her in my life, I won't do any bad things, like, ever, until he doesn't. And so, when Spencer said that, as far as like, oh, well, you're supposed to save me or whatever, I was like, nah, we ain't doing that. I was like, this woman would not be your moral compass, okay? We ain't doing that. Because I know a lot of people love that whole thing with Xander and Sarah, but I thought that was trash. And I'm just hoping that they don't go down those same tunnels. But Spencer's like, I'm gonna watch the tape or watch the video. And of course, Trina's like, oh, well, I'm gonna watch it with you. I was like, okay, cool. So you're gonna be an accomplice. Okay. So they both watch it. They see him, confess and everything like that. And so now he got the proof that he needs to sit there and, take him on in court. Speaking of new Nicholas, I'm not going to lie. When he walked in, it was like the role of Nicholas would now be played by... I laughed at first. Okay? I laughed for a couple of reasons. One, let's be honest. When he first came in, a lot of people actually did like this Nicholas. Some people didn't, but most people did. So I was like, alright, that's cool. It seemed like they got a good pick. And then I was like, hey, you remember when you did that live and you was all like, oh, Tyler Chrysler is going to be a new Nicholas? Yeah. Fun times. Well, I can admit when I'm wrong. And it seems like I'm wrong. I also feel like Soap Opera and Digest is wrong too. Because I think it was Nikisha that tried to look for it. And some other people did. And they couldn't find it. I know I found it. And I have not gotten time to sit there and look for it. But I will sit there and try to find it the minute that I get a minute to breathe. Excuse me. So Michael Smith there watching the baby with Joss. And of course, in the other room, Willow's flatlining. Ava and Austin talk for a little bit because, they're still doing their chem tests because apparently that's a thing. What else? Are they actually going to do this whole memorial thing, or are they just going to skip that too? Because they've been talking about this memorial for a hot minute, and it seems like they're not going to get to it anytime soon. Okay. But I'm pretty sure that they will at some point. I'm probably going to want to fast forward through it. I don't really do a lot of those memorials, funerals, and stuff like that. If it's on Yetis, it'll be different because, these, But usually with, like, characters that just get killed off the show, I'm just like, yeah. Let's talk about Stella and Jordan. This part was actually pretty interesting. Because Stella was sitting there wondering why Jordan was running all these DNA tests and this, that, and the third. And through a trial of misfires as far as, are you sitting there telling me that Curtis and Portia are related? And I was like, Jordan, you need to sit there and tell the truth at this point, because now this woman is jumping to, like, outlandish claims at this point. Like, she's just jumping to conclusions that is just like all sorts of wrong for so many reasons. But she figured out that because Trina also did a DNA. She did the whole ancestry thing. Stella did the whole ancestry thing. So when she really started putting the pieces together, she realized that Curtis is Trina's father. Trina, yeah, Curtis is Trina's father. Now she's shocked, and at first she was kind of upset with Jordan. She was more like surprised, like, why didn't you tell anyone, this, that, and the third? And Jordan's like, well, it's not my place. And Stella was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just gonna go and tell Curtis now because there is no way in hell I'm just gonna sit there and let Portia and Curtis get married. Like that's just not gonna happen. But Jordan really tries to talk her down, like, yo, listen, this is not a place. We don't know anything for sure. We can't do a DNA test, and we don't want to sit there and blow up anyone's lives just based off of a hunch. Now you see in the previews, Stella does approach Portia. And of course, Portia's going to sit there and do her best to lie and deny at first. And of course, she's going to sit there and start giving her sob story and why, she didn't tell him and blah, 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 blah. At this point, I don't even really care about her reasons because, to be honest, they're trash. Okay? They're trash. Curtis and Drew, they're getting their tuck suits fitted or whatever. There's a lot of scenes in this episode that seem like they're very filler. Like the way that Liz and Austin was really slowly explaining to Willow about the process and everything, and had the anesthesia guy come in and explain his part. It was like, you guys are really trying to just stretch this out for time, aren't you? Y'all just really trying to just stretch this out as far as possible. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very important that she knows what's going on, and it will definitely sit there and calm her nerves, and that's much needed. Okay? But I mean, come on, they literally sat there and walked everyone through this whole process, like, oh, okay, so this is very interesting. Like, I felt like if they actually had more story they could have put, they would have you know what I'm saying? Like, they would have literally just not did all that. All that stuff was just drawn out. Now, Curtis and Drew, for the most part, it is filler. Curtis does find out that Nina is Willow's mother. Now, Carly knew the whole time, he didn't say anything. And, Curtis is like, how could you just let that slide? Well, it's a good thing that you two aren't dating or anything like that, because I'm going to be honest. If somebody told me some earth shattering news like that, I just don't think I'll be able to forgive them. As a sort of forewarnings, kind of thing. And I'm just like, okay, all right, well, I'm glad we waited for that part. Everything else up until this point was kind of pointless. Don't get me wrong. I do love their friendship. That is the one thing I would sit there and say, is that I love the friendship between Curtis and Drew. There's just something about that. I know a lot of people, when it comes to these soaps and stuff like that, they love the coupling, they love the nicknames and all that other stuff. It's not really my thing. But what I do appreciate about some of these soap operas a lot of times is the friendships that these people have. Like Jack and Xander. I mean, right now it's pretty much on the rocks, but like Jack and Xander, I love their friendship. And like Ben and Jake back in the day, I used to love their friendship, their kind of brotherhood sort of thing. And that's what I really like about the scenes with Drew and Curtis is their friendship. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. Like I said, this episode was a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag of filler and that's not true. I did forget something. I mean, granted, this part was kind of filler as well, but this is Carol and Nicholas seeing with Esme. Carol just trying to assess Esme's condition as far as her, her being, not having any memory or anything like that. So, she kind of, finds out what she has as far as like, her amnesia and everything. And, Esme is like, hey, do you think I can sit there and possibly get my memory back just so I could, be the best mother I possibly can to this child? Now, of course, Nicholas wants, Carol to, do her thing, and make her forget. But, Carol's having second thoughts. Not even second thoughts. She's like, I can't do that, Like, this is wrong on so many levels. But on top of that, to sit there and do it to a pregnant woman, I can't do it. So she kind of just storms off. And the reason up until this point has been pretty stupid is because if Nicholas told Carol the real reason why he wants this done, she would comply much more faster and she'd be much more on board with this whole thing as opposed to sit there and say, well, it's in Liz's best interest. I mean, all you need to know is that it's in Liz's best interest. Or maybe if you actually tell her, she might actually want to go along with the plan, if nothing else but to sit there and save her daughter, but you haven't been telling her anything since jump. So now she's just like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. You're a bad person. This, that, and the third. And of course, all Nicholas does is, give a little sly remarks here and there. Oh, you're a bad mother. And, this is the first time you crossed the line. He. Like, you really think that you sit there practically acting like a dick is going to get her to somehow change her mind about helping you? Maybe if you actually told her. It's so... I know it's a soap opera, you gotta kind of draw these things out, but there's drawing things out, and then there's whatever this is. And yeah, I feel like that's pretty much about it. Like I said, there's some good stuff in it. It's mostly filler, but, they did leave it on somewhat of a cliffhanger. So I give them points for that. Give them points for that. Love good cliffhangers. I really do. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. But before I do go, I'm gonna sit there and chill a little bit because, why not? Anyway, if you're new to the channel, I do have a YouTube membership program. $4.99 gives you access to exclusive videos, member shoutouts, random shoutouts throughout the month, and exclusive lives, which is a lot of fun. I normally do lives Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. But on Sundays, I do it specifically for the members. So if you want to join, help support the channel, I really appreciate it. And again, it's a lot of fun. So I have some really good ideas for a couple more exclusive videos. So yeah, and definitely check them out. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.